Hello everyone, so for today's video I've got my fifth, I think, weight loss diary, and I'm filming it in a different place and I'm also using a different camera because I'm at my mum's at the moment. I'm currently trying to sort out my room because I want to do a different background, so you'll probably see a few videos in this setting, but I just thought while I'm filming here I might as well just try her camera because she's got her camera slightly better than mine. So I wanted to keep today's video pretty short because I feel like my weight loss diaries tend to be quite long and rambly, and they're also me just kind of throwing a lot of facts at you. So I'm gonna just kind of slow it down a little bit today, just to give it a break from that, because next week I do have a kind of factual topic that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to start off by giving you an update on my weight. So on the 4th when I started this I was 13 stone 4 pounds and 4 ounces. Last week on the 17th I was 12 stone 13 pounds and 4 ounces. On the 24th when I weighed myself I was 12 stone 11 pounds and 6 ounces. So I'm 2 ounces away from half a stone, so I've pretty much lost half a stone, which is amazing. To some people it might be a small amount, to some people it might be a huge amount, but I just feel so happy about that, like just to be able to say I've lost half a stone already. And just the more I do this, the more I really can feel it. I just feel so good and different, and I feel so much more confident about it all, and I feel like I can treat myself a little bit and I can enjoy food again, and it's not a horrible thing. And I also feel like my willpower to kind of not eat certain foods has just shot up massively. I can really control myself now, which I never really felt like I've been able to do before. I definitely put this a lot towards me doing these videos and reading all the comments and things like that. It's just amazing to see so many really supportive people, and I'm so grateful. My family have been so supportive as well, and every time I see them they like constantly commenting like on how I look. And I think as well, like taking the pictures, just seeing that difference is just like wow, because I feel like seeing it makes me realise that I am changing, because I don't want to kid myself into thinking something's happening if it's not. And obviously I can see it on the scales and in the pictures, and even like when I'm, you know, when I'm doing videos, when I'm editing them, I can notice differences in myself as well. I'm going to move on to the pictures now. The reason why I wanted to talk about what I'm going to talk about in a minute is just purely down to these pictures, and I almost didn't use these pictures. I almost retook them the next day, but I have always taken them on a Saturday. I've always taken them directly after I weighed myself, before I've eaten anything. That's always been the first thing that I do when I get up after I weigh myself. And I'd taken them before I'd gone into work, so I didn't, you know, I didn't have time to even check them. I kind of just quickly looked at them on the camera to make sure that they weren't blurry or anything, but I didn't have time to fully check them. And I'll show you the pictures and then I'll kind of explain as to why I almost decided not to use them. But this is the front picture. The one thing that I would say that you need to bear in mind is the lighting is completely different in these pictures. The first picture I took and the pictures since, apart from last week, have all been taken in natural lighting. And last week I took the picture at 6:10 in the morning, so I did have to turn on the bedroom light, so it's really harsh lighting. It definitely shows how I look a little bit better, so it's kind of made me wonder if I should always take them in harsh lighting or if I should just stick to natural lighting. I'm not sure, but you can still see a difference. And especially in the front picture, the one thing that I've always been quite lucky with is, even though I have had quite a lot of fat on my belly, I've always had pretty strong stomach muscles. Not big stomach muscles, but they've always just been fairly strong. And this was something that I feel like, because when I had Brooke, it definitely helped in the labour. It wasn't that difficult to kind of push or anything like that. And when I had my checkups, they made comments about them. And I was always able to kind of do weird things with my stomach when I was younger. So I have always had, not hugely strong, but they've always just been something that, you know, I have just been a little bit stronger. Anytime I have lost weight, I normally notice some sort of definition in my stomach pretty quickly. If you can very faintly see on the left hand side of the picture, there's a very faint line of where like my stomach muscles kind of are, and I tend to find that kind of at the top that shows a lot more quicker. Not in a sense of like I'll have a six-pack in a month's time. That is something which I think is a lot more visible. I think it might be slightly down to the fact it's more harsh lighting, but obviously I have lost another 2 pounds, so that kind of works as well. And then this is the second picture, which again I feel like my stomach doesn't look as round. I feel like my bum doesn't look as kind of saggy. And then again with the back picture, the shorts, just seeing how baggy they look just makes me really happy. I feel like my kind of back fat has not really changed that much, but I'm trying to be aware of the fact that when I took the first picture, I kind of had my arms up and stretched, you know, like around to take the picture. So obviously it would have kind of stretched my back out. I'm going to try and find a way to take them a bit better, because I feel like they're not very true to how I look if I've kind of got my arms, you know, stretching out. So now I'll move on to the topic. So when I first put the pictures on my laptop and had a look at them and was comparing them, the first thing that I noticed that was so visible in these pictures that hadn't been visible in previous pictures is my stretch marks. I've had stretch marks for years. To be perfectly honest, it's not something that I can put down to the fact I had a baby. I can put some of them down to the fact I had a baby, but I mostly just got them through gaining weight when I was younger and losing it and gaining it and losing it and gaining it. And for years I hated them, absolutely hated them. I remember putting loads of bio oil on them and just wanting to cover them up. I almost didn't put them up because I looked at them pictures and thought, oh, I don't want people to see them. I don't want people to see them that obvious. And the more I thought about it, I just kind of decided I didn't care, in a sense. Like, I have them and I don't see why I should hide the fact that I've got them. I haven't really tried to hide them from the start. I kind of just come to realise that I'm just worrying about the wrong thing. Like, in all honesty, who cares that I have them? Me not showing them doesn't hide the fact that I have them. And this is kind of a way that I've been trying to get myself to think for the last few months. If I would have spent that much time on other really unimportant things and focused more on like my health, I wouldn't be in this position now. I remember watching so many YouTubers do the TMI tag, and I don't think I've ever actually watched someone do it. And when it comes to the question, how much do you weigh, I don't think I've ever seen anyone answer it. And I've seen people make sarcastic comments about it and say something about it being rude and how they don't want to say their weight and things like that. And at first I thought, yeah, I wouldn't want to say my weight. I don't want, you know, millions, hundreds, thousands, you know. I don't want people to know how much I weigh. And when I first started this series, my first kind of thought was, I'm going to have to tell people how much I weigh, otherwise it's going to seem a little bit pointless, because how exactly am I going to measure it on? You know, you can kind of measure it on pictures, but at the same time I want everyone to be able to gauge, you know, what I look like and how big I am or how big I'm not and things like that. And I remember talking to Mum and Dad about this, and I said to them, I do actually find it really bizarre how people are so scared to tell people how much they weigh, because me saying to you all I weigh 12 stone and 11 pounds, it doesn't change the way that you see me. You don't look at me and go, oh my god, you know, you're fat or you're skinny or whatever. It doesn't change the way that you see me, because that is just what I am. And it also doesn't change the fact that I weigh that much. It's not like I can hide it for 6 months and then miraculously lose the weight just because I'm not telling people how much I weigh. It shouldn't be such a hidden thing. It shouldn't be such an embarrassment to say to people, this is how much I weigh. I have so many friends who have told me how much they've weighed and I haven't gone, wow, you know, you really are like overweight or you really are underweight or anything like that. Like, it doesn't change the way I see them. If anything, I have more respect for them actually telling me how much they weigh, because it seems to be a bit of a social norm to not tell people what you weigh. And I can completely understand, obviously, that sometimes it can be a bit difficult, because, you know, I was like that for ages, but I've just kind of thought there's worse things that could happen. The fact that I'm medically obese isn't something that I feel like I should have to hide. And I also feel like if you're unhappy with your weight and you're doing something about it, to then tell someone how much you weigh isn't a bad thing. Like, you know, if anything, I'd be like, that's brilliant. You know, you obviously you're unhappy with your weight. And this is like the same thing with my sister. When she told me that she wasn't happy with her weight and she told me how much weight she'd put on and what weight she was, it was like, right, okay, what do you want to get, you know, and we talked about it. And she's managed to pull herself back from that, like, and she never felt ashamed of it. And what's the point of hiding it? People see me in the street and they can see my rough size, so I think it's fairly obvious that I am somewhat overweight at least. I'm not going to hide that. And it's the same thing with me having the stretch marks. I have the stretch marks. That is part of my body, I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to go and pay thousands of pounds to get them, you know, surgically removed or anything like that, and I'm not going to spend hundreds of pounds on products that will make them fade. They will naturally fade as I get slimmer, and then I can decide what I want to do about them, but they're just a part of me. Growing up, I hated the way I looked. I hated the fact that I had red hair. I hated the fact that I was pale and freckly. And my mum and dad always used to tell me and my sisters how like beautiful we were and how we should really appreciate the way we look, because there's some people that, you know, have had accidents or, you know, illnesses or things like that that have changed the way they look in ways that can't be fixed that easily, and that we should appreciate that. You know, we should just appreciate how we look. I just never listened to them for it. I think that's why I got into makeup. I just used to put on loads of makeup to try and change the way I looked, and it was the only thing that gave me confidence, and then I started dyeing my hair. The thing is about makeup, and the reason why I still like it so much, is you can change the way you look in some ways, but then when it comes to night time, I wipe it off and the next day I can do what I want. I stopped dyeing my hair because I dyed my hair so many times, black, blonde, brown, purple, red, everything. I couldn't just wipe it off. It was so hard to take off, and I spent so much time and money changing a hair colour that I was born with. I'm the only one out of my sisters with this hair colour. I used to get complimented on it all the time when I was younger, and I'd let a few people who used to call me horrible names make me change it, and I never changed it because I hated it. I changed it because everybody else, in my eyes, hated it. And now that I haven't changed it, I get compliments again. I get compliments off complete strangers about my hair, and I like it. I like the fact it's, you know, it's a bit different. It doesn't change who I am just because I have red hair. It doesn't change who I am. The things that changes who you are, the decisions that you make, and the way you treat other people. This time in my life, I feel like I have never been happier. I've never been happier with the relationships I have with people. There's some that I wish were different, but you know, I'm still only young. I'm only 23 years old, and I have so much more life to live, and I want to live a long and happy and healthy life. And the only thing that I should be worrying about is my health. That's the only thing that's going to affect the rest of my life. Me having red hair isn't going to affect the rest of my life. It's just, I've got red hair. Me being overweight could have a dramatic effect on the rest of my life. I used to worry about like what people thought of me and how other people see me and things like that, and now I worry about, you know, like my health, and I worry about my family's health, and you know, how happy everyone is, and that's the kind of things that I think I should worry about. I want, you know, I want to have a happy, safe, loving family. You know, I want Brooke to grow up with a positive look on herself. I don't want her to grow up thinking that she's not beautiful and that, you know, she should hate certain things about herself, things that she was born with. It's not something, I would never judge someone on how they look, ever. I judge people on how, you know, how they treat me, how they treat their children or their partners or their parents. That's how I judge people, not by how they look. I wish that these kind of bigger YouTubers and things like that wouldn't make their weight such a bad thing to talk about, because there's so many like girls and boys that watch these people, and if anything, you should be encouraging people to be okay about that, be open about that. I mean, your weight doesn't define who you are. It's just something, it's just a number that is used to measure how much of you there is. That is all it is. All it is a number. That number can change with what you do about it. It's not a bad thing. I know it's been a bit of a rambly video, but it's definitely something that I knew I wanted to talk about. I think that you should never be ashamed of how much you weigh, even if you are overweight, obese. I think it's not something that you should be ashamed of, especially if you're doing something about it. I feel like I have so much more confidence now, and I'm not gonna put myself down for anything that is beyond my control. Or I could control my weight, so that is something I have in a sense put myself down for, but I'm doing something about that, and obviously it's working. But stuff like having stretch marks and having red hair and having pale skin with loads of freckles and things like that, that's just me, that's just who I am. I hope that this video has been really helpful, and you know, if you're feeling a bit down about yourself, hopefully this has made you feel that a bit better, because I'd never want anyone to feel like they're ugly and they're disgusting because of something that, because there's something about them that they don't like, or there's something about them that someone else has said they don't like. I can't believe how much time I spent dyeing my hair just because of what other people said to me. that's something I wish I'd never done. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you follow me on all my social medias, which will be down below, especially Snapchat. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!